On social media, people share a lot of very basic photos, and I really like creative looks. So I'm here to share with you 10 different social media picture ideas and how I created them. So number one. So we have this picture. I love it. I love all of these. Just to start out with that, I love all of these pictures. But this one was super duper easy. I saw it from a TikToker once, and she actually shared a whole hashtag of how to create these photos, and a lot of people were sharing them at one point on Instagram. But here's what it looks like. You basically just take a sheet of paper with printed words on it. It could be a newspaper, it could be an old book paper, a magazine, whatever you want it to be. Roll it up, put yourself on one end of it and the camera on the other, and boom, you have a great shot. The one thing I would just say is that you want to be highlighted, so put yourself in front of a window and the camera on the other side, so that way you come out nice and bright. So I love how this one turned out. It's very cool because you're the center of the focus in this photo. The next one we have is magazines. Oh, this was a love project. This was the first time that I started doing photography photos. Photography photos. That sounds so funny. This is the first time I started playing around with the idea of cool photos. And my husband at the time had a giant stack of National Geographic magazines. We took a really old one, the one that was falling apart. I ripped it apart and then glued it all over the walls, and laid out all the magazines on the floor, and made an homage to National Geographic magazines. It turned out super cool because I like color, so a lot of them were highlighted, and it was really interesting to look at the different magazines that were released over the years, and it turned out like a really cool nerdy picture with a lot of color and a lot of character to it. The next one, this is also a love project I did with my sister. We went to the park and we cut out, as you can see, it's Polaroids. What we did was take a piece of paper, cut it out to the shape of a Polaroid, and then just held it over our faces. And then post production in Photoshop, we actually changed the colors within the little square so it looks like the Polaroids exactly matched up to our faces. So this was a really cool project. It was so hard to choose between what kind of filters we wanted to apply to our faces. So my sister went with a very black and white kind of look, and I went for a more subtle look, but I think it turned out really awesome. So this next picture is a book frame, a giant book frame, you could say. I also saw this, I think it was on Pinterest or something I looked up online, but it looked so cool how somebody lined up books into the shape of a circle and then stood behind it and made it look like they were like in a world of books. Let me tell you, setting up those books was incredibly hard because they kept falling down, especially where bridges in a little bit and then putting books on top. It just kept falling over. This took like an hour just to set up the books alone. I actually did this later in the evening, so I was losing a lot of light. I had to leave the books overnight and then come back the next morning to take the picture, so it turned out nice. Yeah, so if you're a book lover, this is also a great photo to try. This next one is a very classic one because a lot of people like flowers and they tend to take a lot of pictures around them. You could start out in the spring and create a whole entire album going all the way to late fall with a lot of different flowers. In the spring, you could find tulips and different flowers on trees. In the summer, you'll find a lot of wildflowers that are blooming. And then in the fall, you'll see very classic and very big favorite photos of people around sunflowers. The key here is to kind of try to blend in, so you want to match your outfit to the flowers that you're taking and kind of become the environment. That's how you make it go from a very basic photo to a very staged and creative photo. The next idea is to use props, and one of the cooler ones is if you actually use fruit or vegetables. There was a trend on TikTok where people were putting pumpkin heads, pumpkin over their heads, and I thought that was cool, but I thought I could stand out a little bit and just cover a small part of my face rather than my whole head. That's just my style. Another variation of this I've seen people do where they cut an orange in half. I've seen people use watermelons or use even like pineapples. So you could get really creative here. This one just turned out really nice because it was fall and I threw in a pumpkin in there, and it was a whole circle of fall. This one was also so cool to create. I saw this from a creator on Instagram. Just sitting on top of her car, and I'm like, I have to have that photo. And at that point, we were going to go to Tennessee, to the Smoky Mountains, and I was like, what better place than go to the Smoky Mountains and create this photo in a very cool, very aesthetic travel destination. So we parked up the car in a lot of places. And tried out a whole bunch of shots. It was a little bit difficult just because of if the photographer or the camera is set up in a lower location and the car is too high, you can't see the person so much. So it was a bit of a challenge, but in this area we turned out exactly how I imagined it. Just be careful, because the funny thing with this, if you sit on your car a little too hard, the top of it could kind of, the metal will sink in. So just be careful. My next idea is to become your environment. And here I have two examples. One was taken in Italy with an iPhone, but I think it turned out cool. I just laid down in front of a statue and did exactly what the statue was doing. The other one is I became a cactus. So this was in Arizona, and I just took on the pose of what a cactus looked like to me, and I think it turned out pretty cool. The next idea here is to play with shadows and lights. This photo was actually very difficult to create just because there's a lot of holding going on there. You have to hold the camera, you have to hold your hair, you have to hold the actual items that create the shadows. But the way to create this one is you take a poster board or a piece of paper. I recommend a poster board just because it's less flimsy than a piece of paper. And you just cut out whatever shape you want, go to a sunny location, or even hold it over a lamp. And then shine it on your face or any other body part, whatever you want to do. Could even do this probably with shadows. And you have a very cool photo. This one actually was around the time of summer, so it was perfect for 4th of July. The last photo I have is a photo near a window. So this is also a very ethereal and very light kind of royal look to a photo. I think that windows create a lot of just beautiful lighting, and this is what I wanted to create here. It's a very good location for a portrait shot, especially very up close and like above the shoulders. The best way to create it is if you have some sort of curtains or some sort of something hanging from the windows to diffuse the light a little bit, and that creates a very beautiful and royal look. So those are your 10 social media picture ideas. Let me know in the comments which one was your favorite, and if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you'll see more content like this. And that's all for now. Peace, love, and cheers, guys.